Hi there, my name is Marty Owings, and today I'm going to take a look at this Maimeri Extrafine Artist Grade Gouache made in Italy. Gouache, a funny name, but a great water-based medium to paint with, especially if you like illustration. This particular introductory set comes with 8 paints in it. And as I said, it was made in Italy. It was founded by a guy named Gianni Maimeri. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. An Italian guy in 1922. He wanted a way to create better paints. He was an artist himself and wanted to paint with gouache. And so he created his own business, and it's been in pretty continuous operation since then. The company is part of a larger brand of companies called the Fila brand, not to be confused with Fila shoes, but it's an Italian brand that owns this company now. I'm not sure why this pencil and charcoal fixative shipped with this, and maybe if you know more about why that ships with this introductory set, you can let me know. It also came with this number 4 hog's hair brush, and I didn't use this brush. I'm not a real fan of hog's hair, and I wanted to get a little bit more precise in my testing, but this is a flat, and it does come with a brush, which is interesting. The colors in this set are black, titanium white. You got a nice cadmium red hue, a primary red magenta, a primary yellow, an ultramarine cyan, a sienna, a burnt sienna, and an emerald green. So that's what you get in the introductory set. And you can mix a lot of colors with that. Now here I've wet a paper towel to keep the gouache moist, and I'll use this flat here to kind of swatch these colors out very quickly in a time lapse here, and you get a sense of how the paint goes down. Now with gouache, you can add more or less water depending on how thick you want the paint to be. Generally, you're going to get a pretty consistent opaque an opaque paint when you use gouache. Gouache is meant to be opaque. It's meant to cover, although there are some transparent gouaches and some manufacturers who make gouache that's a little bit more on the transparent side. But here you can see I'm mixing colors. I mixed a blue and a yellow to get a green. I'm mixing this blue and this red to get a nice purple color. And here I'm going to try some tonal values here and then some flesh tones. So you can see that you can basically mix all these colors to get what you want. And now I've added a little bit more water here, and I just kind of want to run the color out on the sheet here. Just go as far as I can with the sheet, with the runway I have on this sheet, and just kind of draw those colors out and get more transparent or lighter colors as I go. And here I'm just going to draw a little bit, paint a little bit, using these paints and just get a sense of them. And so far, what I'm sensing is they're very, very nice paints. Very good pigment load, a tremendous amount of evenness in the paint, and it really blends nicely. You can see there, and it dries great, very opaque, which I like. I think another strength of this paint is its ability to just morph a little bit. Like if you add more water, you're going to probably get and gain more transparency from this paint. Even though it's designed to be very opaque, you're going to be able to achieve sort of that transparency that you might with a more transparent watercolor. I think the pigments are probably very finely ground, and here you can see I'm just kind of giving you a rough idea of what it would be like to glaze with these paints or to mix as well. So I made a yellow ochre out of this paint, and then by adjusting, just tweaking the colors together a little bit, I was able to get, a Payne's gray and some good variety of colors here. Now here I'll do a wet on wet technique. So I'm going to basically add color after color, and if you were trying to do something interesting that way with the paint, it does really well. It blends and mixes just whichever way you want it to. It's pretty controllable. Like if you were going to do a sunset here, add a little wet on wet here, and you wanted to get like a pink color and just add more yellow. And so I just played around with this for a bit, and it dried very nicely. That looks a little like a tie-dye, but that's more because of my water mixture than anything else. But if you look closely at these paints, you can see how extraordinarily opaque and flat they are, which is a good mark of the paint. I like that they give you like a magenta and a cyan, because those colors allow you to mix with a lot of other colors. The primary colors just extend the usability of the paint quite a bit. So I appreciate that as well, especially when it's good artist grade paint, like this Maimeri paint is. It's just, you know, the blending, the mixing, the opacity, the transparency. There's a lot of versatility to these Italian paints, and they're very well made. I think that it's more like a workshop, you know, than a factory when it comes to them and how they decide to build these paints and manufacture them. I put little squares around some of the places where I really liked where it lifted or blended nicely, or didn't lift or didn't blend. So it's just kind of just to get my attention on that. And you can see here, as you run across the spectrum, they're very bright, they're very vibrant. You get, you know, like a tremendous amount of, like I said, versatility with 8 paints. So yeah, there it is. There's my menagerie. But I think I can pretty strongly recommend these Italian paints. And if you're interested in learning more about this, and these paints and other paints, gouache paints in particular, my friend Steve Mitchell over at the Mind of Watercolor did a very nice, I think it was his top 6 or 8 gouache paints, and you know, Schminke came out on top for him, and they would probably come out on top for me, but I would put these Maimeri paints a little bit higher than Steve ranked them, only because of their extraordinary versatility. Now, I haven't used every gouache paint on the market or anything like that, but these are pretty outstanding. If you pop over to the Maimeri website and start looking through their catalog here, you'll come to their gouache. Click on that, and this is their Extrafine artist grade gouache. And there are 54 colors in the line. You can pick these up and in 20 milliliter tubes, and you can even get a very large titanium white in a 60 milliliter tube. But just really a good line of colors, and you could just mix just about anything you need. Now, I got this intro set. I picked it up, like I said, 8 colors in this set, and that's going to be good enough for me and most illustration work that I want to do. I'm not going to have to expand too far out of that set. But if you wanted to up your game a little bit, maybe you don't want all 54 colors, you can get this set of 12, which is, you know, 4 more colors than I have right here, a couple of more greens, a red, and a different blue. Just a real nice variety. And I'll put links down in the description where you can go and pick these up and any of the gear that I used in the video today. But kudos to Maimeri for producing what I consider really outstanding artist grade gouache. Well, if you get a chance, pop over to the website at owingsart.com. You can scroll down on the page, see what I'm up to, but on the right-hand side of the page, just below that group of people there, click that little blue follow button, and you'll follow along on the artistic journey. I post about once a month over there, so I'd like to see you there, and maybe over at the Instagram page as well. It's post just about daily over there. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by today to take a look at this very fine artist grade gouache by Maimeri. Take care, have a great week, and this has been Marty for owingsart.com.